There exists a truth so fundamental to the dynamics between men and women, yet so rarely spoken aloud, that it operates like a law of emotional gravity, invisible but absolute. It is a truth that most men, conditioned by a world that preaches a gospel of persistent affection and gentle availability, only discover in the ruinous aftermath of being replaced, ghosted, or emotionally discarded. The truth is this: the moment you, as a man, consciously withdraw the attention she has come to perceive as a guaranteed utility, something deep within her psychological framework shatters. This breakage does not occur because she loves you, nor does it happen because she has finally come to respect you. It happens because you have, without warning, turned off the supply. You have disrupted the predictable pattern of validation that she, consciously or not, had come to depend on for her emotional equilibrium. You have walked away from the emotional faucet she assumed she could drink from at her leisure forever, and in the sudden, deafening silence that follows, she is plunged into a state of profound insecurity. She does not feel safe, not emotionally, not psychologically, not spiritually. This is because the primal craving of the feminine psyche in the initial stages of attraction is not love, it is validation. And by the simple, powerful act of making yourself unavailable, you have paradoxically become more valuable than ever before. If you desire her to chase you, if you wish to witness the raw, unfiltered mechanics of her desire, you must ignore her completely. Then, you must watch with the patience of a predator. Her reaction will not be immediate or obvious. She will not crumble before your eyes. On the contrary, she will put on a masterful performance of indifference. Her social media will become a curated gallery of her best life, a vibrant collage of nights out with friends, new hobbies, and filtered curated smiles aimed at an audience of one. You. She will project an aura of being unbothered, a woman too busy, too happy, too fulfilled to notice your absence. But this is a fragile, calculated facade behind the scenes. In the quiet moments when the distractions fade and she is alone with her thoughts, the silence you have gifted her begins to echo. It reverberates through the empty chambers of her ego. It haunts her. Women are, by their very nature, obsessed with narratives, with stories. They seek to understand the emotional arc of their interactions, to find meaning in the sequence of events. And when the story you are co-authoring is left unfinished, when she deploys a test and fails to receive the expected reaction, when you abruptly refuse to play your assigned role in her drama, her mind becomes trapped in an obsessive loop. This mental loop is a form of self-torture she cannot escape. She will find herself rereading your last messages, poring over them like an archaeologist searching for clues in ancient texts. She will analyze your punctuation, the timing of your replies, the tone she now projects onto your words, desperate to pinpoint the exact moment the narrative shifted. She will stalk your online profiles at midnight, a digital ghost haunting the periphery of your new life, searching for any sign of weakness, any hint of another woman, any clue that might solve the agonizing puzzle of your indifference. Will bring you up in conversation with her friends, packaging her obsession in the socially acceptable wrapper of casual disdain, pretending you were just a fleeting phase, a minor character in her grand story. But your name lingers on her tongue a little too long, and your silence screams louder in her mind than any declaration of love you ever made. This is the critical juncture where most men fail. They possess the initial resolve to ignore her for a day, perhaps two. They endure the initial pang of anxiety. But then, the discipline wavers. The silence becomes unbearable. The void you have created in her life is mirrored by a void in your own routine, a void you are not yet equipped to fill with purpose. Panic sets in. The deep-seated conditioning to seek her approval, to fix the situation, to be the nice guy, reasserts itself with overwhelming force. They cave to the primal urge to reach out. They send that one fatal text. Hey, just checking in, or is everything okay? And in that precise moment, the second they break the silence, the entire edifice of power they had begun to construct collapses into dust. All leverage is lost. All mystery evaporates. All respect she might have been starting to feel for your strength vanishes. This is because the immense power of ignoring her is not contained within the initial act itself. It resides in the unwavering consistency of that act. It is found in the resolute refusal to fold under emotional pressure. It is a testament to the ironclad conviction that your presence, your time, and your attention are things to be earned, not things to which she is entitled. When you commit to going silent, you are not merely being quiet. You are sending a message more potent and more profound than any impassioned speech or logical argument. Your silence communicates, on a primal level, I do not need you. I was willing to share my life with you, but I was never desperate for you. In a world where she is constantly bombarded by the desperate pleas and predictable actions of other men, this stance of willing but not needy detachment is both terrifying and intoxicating. It is terrifying because it means she cannot control you. She cannot use her feminine wiles to manipulate your emotions. She cannot predict your next move. She cannot, in any meaningful sense, own you. And this terror, this realization that you are a sovereign entity, is, ironically, the very thing that ignites her most profound desire. She wants what she cannot have, what she cannot control. She wants you, however. Let this be stated with brutal clarity. This strategy of ignoring her will only work if it is born of genuine, authentic detachment. It cannot be a mere tactic. It cannot be a childish ploy deployed with the secret hope of manipulating her into coming back. Women possess an intuitive apparatus that is frighteningly adept at detecting emotional incongruence. They can feel when you are pretending. They can sense when your silence is not a state of being but a strategy. They can smell the underlying insecurity in a man who ignores them while secretly checking his phone every 30 seconds, his heart pounding in anticipation of a message. But when your silence is real, when it emanates from a place of genuine finality, when you are truly and authentically done with the drama, the games, and the emotional chaos, she feels that shift in her very bones. She feels it when you are too consumed by your mission, too focused on building your life, too enamored with your own peace to even consider chasing her. When she senses that you have genuinely chosen your own inner tranquility over the mere potential of her affection, that is the moment she begins to crawl. Her return will not always be overt. It will rarely begin with a direct apology or a declaration of love. It will start subtly, with tentative probes designed to test the waters of your new reality. It will come in the form of glances held a second too long if you cross paths in public. It will manifest as passive, indirect messages on social media, cryptic song lyric posted to her story, a meme that references an inside joke you once shared. It might even escalate to manufactured, fake emergencies, a sudden, urgent question about something only you would know, a feigned crisis that requires your immediate input. These are not genuine attempts at reconciliation. They are tests. They are the desperate actions of an addict searching for a fix. In her mind, the constant attention you once provided was her psychological oxygen, and in your absence, she is suffocating. And here you will witness the most twisted and telling paradox of all. The very same woman who once left your heartfelt texts on read for hours or days will now begin to manufacture an endless stream of flimsy excuses to contact you. Will send that cliched, transparently needy, "Hey, stranger," message. She will accidentally like a photo of yours from 3 years ago, a digital signal flare designed to do anything but go unnoticed. She will send you a picture of a dog, a coffee shop, a sunset, with the caption, "This made me think of you." But you must not be fooled by these overtures. This is not the blossoming of love. It is the throes of withdrawal. You were her emotional drug, a reliable source of validation that soothed her insecurities and affirmed her desirability. And now, you have cut off her supply, and she is going through the painful, frantic detox. The only cure she can imagine is another hit of your attention. But you are no longer in the business of being a fix. You are not a rehabilitation center for her ego. You are building now. You are climbing a mountain of your own making, a mountain of purpose, discipline, and self-respect. And that climb, that relentless upward journey, allows for no detours back into the valley of her drama. Ignoring her completely is the precise moment you reclaim your sovereign masculine power. It is a profound act of self-creation. In that silence, you cease to be a reactive creature, your moods and actions dictated by the whims of her emotional state. You stop seeking her approval as the ultimate measure of your worth. You stop calibrating your day, your happiness, your very identity, based on her ever-shifting mood swings. And when a woman senses this fundamental shift, when she realizes that you have stopped trying to please her, that you are no longer a satellite helplessly orbiting the gravitational pull of her emotions, something deep and primal within her kicks in. The questions she never had to ask before now begin to torment her. Did I misjudge him? Was he stronger than I thought? Did I push him too far? Did I just lose something real? And that doubt, that seed of uncertainty you have planted in the fertile soil of her mind, is more intoxicating to her than any compliment you ever gave her. It is intoxicating because it is rare. Most men fold. Most men overexploit. Most men beg for a second chance. But you simply disappear. Not as an act of aggression designed to hurt her, but as an act of self-preservation designed to heal yourself. And that singular, powerful choice is what separates you from all the rest. Your silence is a sword. You must learn to wield it with wisdom and precision. Every word you consciously withhold becomes a powerful statement of your own value. Every desperate message you type out and then delete is a reinforcement of your newfound worth. Every one of her attempts to bait you into a reaction that you calmly refuse to give is a potent reminder to her, and more importantly, to yourself, that you are not a mere option. You are not a backup plan to alleviate her boredom. You are not a placeholder to be used and discarded at her convenience. She will undoubtedly try to bait you. She will attempt to trigger a response, to pull you back into the familiar dynamic. She might even resort to anger, frustration, and accusations, hoping to provoke any sign that you still care. But you must not flinch. You must remain as still and as unmovable as a mountain, because the more you remain unmoved, the more the illusion she has built around you begins to crack. The illusion that she had you, the illusion that you would always be there, a predictable source of comfort, the illusion that you were hers to command. You are not anymore. Let this be said with the force of a thunderclap. Ignoring her is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is the definitive act of choosing yourself. It is the sacred duty of protecting your own energy. To continue giving your attention, your time, and your emotional investment to someone who has actively demonstrated a disrespect for your presence is the ultimate act of self-sabotage. And you have done enough of that. You have tried, you have poured your energy into her. You have shown up, time and time again, with an open heart. And she did not value it. So now, you vanish. Not to teach her a lesson, though a lesson will undoubtedly be learned. You vanish to remember your own. To remember that your time is a sacred, non-refundable asset. To remember that your mind and your focus are priceless commodities. To remember that your inner peace is a non-negotiable term of your existence. And if she cannot rise to the level of that inviolable standard, then she simply does not get access to you. Period. You will know the process is working when she begins to unconsciously mirror the very behaviors she once judged you for when you were the one who cared more. She will start checking your online stories with a frantic, obsessive regularity. She will start casually asking mutual friends about how you are and what you have been up to. She will begin to strategically show up in places she knows you frequent, hoping for a chance encounter. And you will witness this unfolding drama not with a smug sense of victory, but with the calm, detached perspective of a man who has transcended the game. You will see, with breathtaking clarity, how predictable it all was. You will see that the moment you stopped feeding her fantasy of control, she began desperately chasing your reality. And that reality, brother, is no longer built on the flimsy foundation of her validation. It is built on the bedrock of your discipline. So the next time you feel that familiar, insidious itch to text her, to break the silence, to seek her comfort, you must pause. Take a deep, deliberate breath. Remind yourself of who you are becoming. Remind yourself of the immense value you bring to the table. Remind yourself that kings do not chase, they choose. And you have already chosen. You have chosen silence. You have chosen focus. You have chosen the enduring strength of self-respect over the fleeting comfort of her temporary affection, and she will feel that choice. Maybe not today, and maybe not this week, but one day, when her own world inevitably quiets down, when the attention from other, lesser men fades, when her games no longer provide the thrill they once did, she will remember. She will remember the one man who did not flinch, the one man who walked away with his dignity intact, the one man who ignored her completely, and in doing so, made her feel everything. The act of ignoring a woman completely is not an act of revenge. It is an act of profound restoration. It is the process of giving yourself the sacred space to breathe again, free from the crushing weight of her emotional chaos on your chest. You are not punishing her for her transgressions. You are prioritizing your own evolution. With every text you do not send, with every call you do not answer, you are reclaiming the scattered fragments of your own soul, pieces of yourself that you gave away far too easily in exchange for fleeting moments of her attention. And in this process, you must ask yourself, what happens when you cease to be her emotional crutch? The answer is simple. She stumbles. She falters. Not because she is inherently weak, but because she had grown accustomed to leaning the full weight of her insecurities on the constant pillar of your validation. And now that you have removed that pillar, she is forced, for perhaps the first time, to confront the terrifying instability of her own self-worth. That is the true object of her longing when you go silent. It is not you she misses, not in the way you once hoped she would. It is the security you provided, the effortless validation you gave her that shielded her from her own inner emptiness. Consider the dynamic when you were always available, always responding, always present. She never had to question your loyalty or your interest because it was a constant, like the rising of the sun. She took it for granted precisely because of its predictability. It was a utility, not a prize. But when a man disappears with purpose, when he vanishes not into a void of despair but into the bright light of his own mission, when he chooses to ignore instead of to explain, that act is burned into the very fabric of her psyche. It is an anomaly, a disruption of the natural order as she understands it. Suddenly, the certainty she once wielded with such confidence transmutes into annoying, agonizing uncertainty. She replays your last words, searching for a meaning that isn't there. She interprets your silence not as peace, but as a clear and present danger to her ego and the feminine mind. A complex machine built on the fuel of emotional stimuli craves resolution above all else. When it is denied that resolution, when the story is left hanging, it spirals. It descends into a vortex of what-ifs and if-onlys, and that spiral, that frantic, obsessive need to close the loop, is what brings her crawling back. She does not return because she is ready to love you, but because she cannot tolerate the psychological torment of your absence. Let us be brutally honest with ourselves. Your silence is not just about her. It is a mirror held up to your own past. Behavior it reflects back to you, with perfect, unforgiving clarity, everything you tolerated in the name of hope. It shows you everything you deserved but never received. When you finally go quiet, you begin to hear your own voice again, a voice that was long drowned out by the noise of her drama. You remember all the moments you bit your tongue to keep the peace. You recall the countless times you watered down. Your truth softened your boundaries, and made yourself smaller just to be more palatable to her. And the deeper you sit in that sanctified silence, the more you realize how deafeningly loud her chaos used to be. That is when the true epiphany hits you like a physical blow. You are not in love, you are in a state of distraction, and your silence, this newfound peace, is the sound of your own healing. But you must not mistake her inevitable return for a genuine resolution. When she crawls back into your orbit, you must understand that her motives are rarely born of pure repentance. More often than not, they are driven by the desperation of withdrawal. She is not coming back to give you the love, respect, and admiration you needed all along. She is coming back to feel the validation she lost when you left. That is why you must remain cold. You must remain clear. You must remain emotionally detached. Your new mission is to watch her actions, not to be seduced by her words, to measure her consistency, not her fleeting curiosity. And if she returns only to bring more confusion instead of clarity, more drama instead of peace, you must have the strength to walk away for good. Because a woman who only wants you when you are leaving is not worthy of the man you have become. In your silence, she is a woman addicted to your attention, not a woman who is aligned with your mission. This is the precise moment where most men crumble. They withstand the silence, they build their strength, and then, they get the text, the "I miss you," the late-night call out of nowhere, the carefully crafted paragraph designed to pull at their heartstrings, and they fold. They mistake her message for a green light, a sign that the fantasy can be resumed. But it is not a green light, it is a test. It is a test to see if you have truly changed, to see if your newfound strength is real. It is a test to see if your silence was a product of discipline or just a desperate strategy. And the moment you jump back in, acting as if nothing happened, greeting her with the same old warmth and availability, she loses all respect for you once again. The chase is officially over. The mystery you worked so hard to build dies an instant death. The power dynamic resets to square one, and you find yourself trapped back in the same exhausting emotional loop, but this time with more mileage on your heart and more scars on your soul. Do not do it. Stay still. You have to remember that your attention is a currency, a finite and valuable resource, and for too long, you have spent far too much of it on someone who gave you no return on your investment. Now, you are investing that precious currency into yourself. You are investing it in the gym, shaping your body into a vessel of strength and discipline. You are investing it in your business, your craft, your art, building an empire of your own making. You are investing it in your mind, reading books, learning skills, expanding your worldview. You are investing it in your vision for the future. And the return on investment of self-respect, it compounds daily. Silence is not an activity. It is a strategic reallocation of your most vital assets. You are not doing nothing. You are doing everything she never expected you to do. You are moving on. And when she sees that, when she finally, truly realizes that she is no longer the main character in your story, that is when the genuine panic will set in. That is when she will do anything, absolutely anything, just to feel relevant to you. Again, that she will start reaching out in increasingly transparent ways. A random emoji reply to your online story, a reaction to a post from weeks ago, a memory she just has to share with you. Do not let this bait you. Understand it for what it is. It is not a bid for depth. It is a probe of curiosity. She does not want to build a new future with you. She wants to know if she still has the power to. That is the nature of the ego when it feels the void. It pokes it, it tests it. It hopes to reopen the emotional loop without having to earn its way back in, and it is your sacred duty as a man to protect that loop, to guard your energy, to remain unavailable not out of spite, but out of a new, unwavering standard. Your peace is no longer for rent. Here is the coldest truth of all. If she only wants you now that you are gone, she never really wanted you in the first place. She wanted a version of you, the version who gave without boundaries, the one who sacrificed his own needs without expectation of reciprocation, the one who always texted first, called first, and cared the most. And when that version of you died, her control over you died with it. That is what she is mourning. Not the real you, but the accessible you. The predictable, emotionally generous, ever-available version of you she could depend on to feed her ego whenever it was hungry. That version is dead and buried now. And what is left in his place? A man with standards, a man with clarity, a man with a relentless focus, and that man she has no idea how to handle. Ignore her long enough, and she will be forced to show her true face. The mask will fall off. She will either humble herself, acknowledge her behavior, and demonstrate tangible growth, or she will reveal the deep-seated entitlement she had long tried to mask with her charm. You must watch her comeback closely. If it is filled with passive manipulation, with guilt trips, with nostalgia bombs designed to prey on your old feelings, then she has not changed. She is just desperate. But if she returns with genuine vulnerability, with accountability for her actions, with a quiet respect for the distance you have created, then maybe, just maybe, she has finally felt the true weight of your absence, and maybe, in that case, she is worthy of a conversation. But even then, it is you who chooses. You choose not from a place of emotional need, but from a place of rational evaluation. You are no longer emotionally reactive. You are strategically selective. So from this point forward, let your silence speak for you. Let your absence echo in the spaces she once occupied in your mind. Let her feel, in its entirety, what life is like without the warmth of your energy, the reassurance of your presence, and let her crawl. Not because you derive pleasure from her suffering, but because you want her to see what she lost, to see what she overlooked, to see what she so carelessly took for granted, and most importantly, to see the man she can never, ever manipulate again, because the man who ignores his way back to himself is not weak, he is wise, he is done explaining his worth. He is done chasing validation, he is done pouring his soul into the wrong cup. He is building now, quietly, relentlessly, and with a singular focus. And if she wants a seat at his table, she had better bring more than just nostalgia and empty words. There is a profound reason why silence works more effectively than words. Words can be bent, spun, and manipulated, but silence is final. It is absolute. It cannot be twisted, misunderstood, or misinterpreted. Silence is a formidable wall that she cannot scale unless you choose to lower the drawbridge, and when she realizes that you have built that wall not to punish her but to protect your own sanity, that is when the game truly ends, because no woman, no matter how beautiful or clever, can get past the defenses of a man who has finally, irrevocably decided to value himself, and that is what truly scares her, not your anger, not your insults, but your complete and total detachment. That is what will haunt her in the dark. She will be forced to ask herself the questions she never had to before. Why did he stop caring? Who is he talking to now? Was I just a phase? And that whirlwind of uncertainty, that storm of doubt, is the price she must pay for your peace. You are not doing this to hurt her. You are doing it to remember yourself, to remind the world, and especially yourself, that your attention is not free, that your time is not cheap, that your love is not a playground for the bored and undecided. And when she realizes that she is no longer the center of your emotional gravity, that her name no longer has the power to control your day, that is, when she will start watching you from the shadows, a spectator to the life you are building without her, and she will respect you for it more than she ever did when you were giving her everything.